Welcome to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Joyous conversations about what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about our one reality. You have nothing to fear. You are eternal and you are perfectly loved. Knowing the truth changes everything. Now, here's Roberta.
Oh, my dear friends, our guest today is one of my oldest and dearest friends in the spiritual education community. And he's someone whose work I think is especially precious because he can help people who are seeking to better understand that what is going on is in fact happening in our minds, which actually are all part of the one great consciousness that is all that there is.
Yep.
Please think about that. When our guest today talks about your imagination, remember that everything that exists is happening in God's imagination, and your mind is a continuous part of God's mind. So your own mind is in fact very powerful. And now you can think about that for a minute. You and I don't think about it at all in our everyday lives, so our minds are not powerful at all as they carry on with us in the way that they could be powerful. Remember when Jesus said, and he does say this in the Gospels, that if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, he uses that for the tiniest thing we can think of. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you could move a mountain. That's exactly what he was talking about, how powerful our minds could be if we believed in their power. That reference, by the way, is at the Gospel of Matthew. It's chapter 17, verse 20. You can find it there if you want to look it up. Chapter 17, verse 20 in the book of Matthew, Gospel of Matthew. I first met Peter Wright 15 years ago when I was in California on a speaking tour, and this is his 24th Seek Reality appearance with us. Peter is a certified hypnotherapist based in Santa Barbara, California. He also holds the distinction of being one of only 40 board-certified past life regression therapists in the United States. He has had more than 30 years of experience working with thousands of people in a variety of kinds of problems. He's also worked with many people who are Seek Reality listeners, and sometimes I hear from them about those successes. I love hearing about that. It always kind of feels like an old home week when Peter joins us, and this is his 24th Seek Reality appearance. Peter, welcome. I'm so happy to have you back with us.
Thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure for me as well.
Now, you told me ahead of time that you were going to share with us a client story. This is and all the names have been changed to protect the innocent and the guilty. There are no guilty though. These are just people who have come to you and worked with you, and you'd like to sort of show us how that process happens, which I think is very interesting. I'm looking forward to. I've read through what you sent me in terms of your notes, but I'm just going to be an interested listener here and hear what you have to share with us about how this really happens. But everyone, just remember, this is all happening really inside people's minds. Our minds are infinitely large and infinitely small at the same time. There's no size in eternity. And our minds are so powerful. So let's go on this wonderful trip inside this client of Peter's mind. Let's go.
All right. So I chose this particular client session to discuss because so many of your listeners and viewers are on a spiritual journey. And this is a client that I had several months ago who was clearly on his own spiritual journey. And I was surprised by the information that came through. So I wanted to share that with you and all those who are part of our journey today.
Lovely. This is going to be fun.
So let's say his name is Bob. And Bob came to me, and this was a Zoom call. He's 57 years old, and he wanted to make a stronger connection with his higher self, his spirit guides, and other guidance from the light. And he wanted to gain a greater understanding of his soul's purpose in this life. He wanted to find out what's preventing a trusting personal relationship with women. And he wanted to explore possible difficult past lives in Germany that could be affecting him today. In addition, he wanted to learn how much longer he should stay in a current stressful job of working with the homeless in his community. And he wanted to see what we could do to silence a self-critical voice that was within him, plus anything else we can do on behalf of his highest good. So, as many of you know who've seen me on Roberta's Seek Reality podcast, I have a rather metaphysical hypnotherapy practice. So I'd like to begin by talking about what hypnosis is. For me, hypnosis is just simply focused concentration. We go in and out of trance every day. If you've ever cried while watching a sad film, you've been in hypnosis. It's very similar to meditation. I find that for me, in meditation, you're in a deeply relaxed state. Of course, it's like a telescope, inspiring you to see the big picture. But hypnosis, same state of relaxation, is like a microscope where we're looking within you to help you connect with your guidance, resolve issues in your life that brought you to our session. I find that about 60% of my clients are visual. So we go into a past life or meet with their higher self. And those clients see it all in their imagination. It's like they're starring in their own motion picture costume drama. Terrific. But 40% of my clients, and I'm in this group myself, are more auditory or sensing or feeling. So whenever I go into one of my past lives, I don't see anything. I hear it, I sense it, I feel it. But part of me is saying, Peter, you're making this up because I don't see it. Yeah. Well, I'm making up this story, not that one over there. It's coming from somewhere. And I find in the trance state, your soul speaks through your imagination, as you mentioned, Roberta. And your soul isn't making things up. Rather, it's translating what is inside of you into first thought, first feeling, first image, first voice. So I invite you to be my tour guide, be my court reporter, and share with me whatever is happening as the session unfolds, and get out of the way and trust in the process. So what happens during a particular session? The client is in.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but isn't that true that so often we really get in the way?
We do.
Because people will say to me, I just don't believe that. I just can't believe that's real. When it's clear to me what they're telling me was in their mind was in fact, because if they're trying to hear from their spirit guide, was in fact their spirit guide talking to them. They just couldn't believe it was real.
Exactly. Well, let's pretend it's real and find out what the spirit guide says.
Pretend it's real. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Because again, we are working with the non-physical realm, and yet I find that we're surrounded by help. It's all around us.
Yeah. So true. Yeah.
Move into that. And let's just, as you'll see with the case of Bob, he channeled his heart, his higher self, and all of his guidance during the session.
Yes.
So,
yes.
So I'll explain further as we go along here. Plus, you can channel loved ones who passed on. So everyone is available to us in the trance state, and past life personalities, and spirit guides, angels, archangels, ascended masters. Everyone's available to us in the trance state. Yep. So using this session as a jumping off point, I guided Bob into hypnosis and then on a visualization that took him up into the light of the fifth dimension. Because in that higher vibration, we can go anywhere, anyhow, any why, any when. And it's very easy to connect with all of your guidance.
Yes.
So that's what we do, because they know everything about you from this life and past lives. And so they partner with us during the session to help you resolve these issues. I recently came upon a quote from good old Albert Einstein, the well-known physicist who was a believer in the fifth dimension. He said that it's much easier to resolve issues when you're in the fifth dimension's higher vibration than in talk therapy based in the third dimension.
Yes.
So that's what we're doing here. We're going up into the light, asking your guidance to join us through your imagination and asking them to help you resolve your issues.
Yep.
In fact, you bring your to-do list to the session, they bring their to-do list to the session. And their list takes precedence over yours because they know where we need to go first and they'll take us there.
Yes. They know a great deal more.
A great deal more. So I took Bob up into the light and we're now up in the fifth dimension. And I asked him, describe, what do you sense or feel or see? And Bob said, I'm in a beautiful green meadow and high mountain valley filled with gold light. And there are teachers and guides nearby. Okay. So we then asked Bob's heart to join us. You may experience your heart as an image or a feeling or a presence or maybe a knowing or maybe an inner voice. How does your heart now make itself known to you? Bob said, I see my heart as a gold chalice floating in front of me. Okay. Let's invite that gold chalice floating in front of you to come forth through you right now with words like, I'm here. I'm here, said Bob's heart. How do you support Bob? I asked it. I give him good direction. I help him know that he is loved. And I connect him to other guides, teachers, and the divine. Whoa, sounds good to me. We next invited Bob's higher self to join us. How does your higher self make itself known to you? You may see it or sense it or feel it, or could be a inner voice or whatever. Bob described his higher self as a comforting, big white light standing in front of him. This energy was a bit taller than Bob, he said. Okay, great. So let's invite that energy to announce its presence with words like, I'm here. I'm here, said Bob's higher self as he channeled it. Now, from my perspective, it's a voice that says, I'm here. I hope it's your higher self, but it could be any voice. So I asked a key question. Are you in service to the light and love of the one infinite creator? If it is not your higher self or not a wisdom figure from the light, it cannot lie and say, I sure am. So I use this question to make sure we're talking to the very high vibrational energies that are from the light. And of course, in this case, the voice said yes. So, higher self, how do you support Bob? I let him know that I'm playing a role in Bob's evolution to help him grow over lifetimes. I support, comfort, and co-create his soul's journey in his present life. Right. So we then asked one of Bob's spirit guides to join us. And we learned that this spirit guide was a spiritual teacher from one of Bob's past lives in India. And that the guide called himself Daniel. So I asked Daniel, how do you support Bob? And he said, I help direct Bob in small but significant ways. I reward him when he asks for help. I help him steer clear of bad situations. I help Bob do his work. We then asked Archangel Michael to join us because he's the protector. And Bob described him as a large, smiling figure of light. So I then asked this group to form an inner wisdom team that we'll be working with throughout the session. We'll be partnering with them. And they'll be leading us where we need to go to resolve the issues that Bob has brought to the table. Because they know everything about him from this life and past lives. So, with the team formed, I invited Bob to imagine himself standing in front of a magic mirror of truth and to describe that frame around the magic mirror. He said it was a decorative wood frame painted gold. Any mirror, any frame is fine. So I asked him to look into that mirror at his own reflected energy. What shows up for you? Ideally, it should be you as you are today with a big smile on your face because it's your reflected energy. That rarely happens. Instead, it could be you as a child. It could be it could be an image of a past life or negative energy or earlier in teenage years, whatever.
Right.
It could be just colors moving across the mirror. But whatever shows up is often a metaphor of where we need to go first. So when Bob looked into the mirror, he described what he saw as a vertical beam of light, oblong in shape, pulsating. All right. So let's invite this energy to come forth through him with words like, I'm here, as if he were channeling it. I'm here, it said. What's your purpose in being with Bob? I'm Daniel, his spirit guide, who provides directions for Bob in this life. Okay. So, but just to make sure it was a spirit guide, I said, are you in service to the light and love of the one infinite creator? And Daniel said yes. So how do you support Bob? I coordinate a team of guides to support the evolution of Bob's soul's journey in this lifetime. All right. So I then asked the wisdom team, since we're talking about Bob's soul's journey, to join us as a collective voice and tell us about Bob's soul's journey so far. Here's what they said. Bob can feel confident that the knowledge that he has gathered in this lifetime will be there to support him and that he will ascend in the future. But they pointed out that Bob's career was pushed in a new direction when he took a job leading a local government agency dealing with homeless in his community. Even though this job was difficult for Bob, his inner wisdom team told us that Bob is protected and divinely guided, and this job is simply part of his soul's journey in this lifetime. Well, one of Bob's goals, as you may recall, as I mentioned up front, was to ask about next steps after this job. Here's what his inner wisdom team told him. Bob will know when it's time to move on to the next job. In fact, we encourage him to check back with us next September, and we'll revisit the job issue with him. Then they said, we have Bob's back. And they suggested that Bob work with his team to decide these next steps in his life. Yes, they exclaimed, our door is always open when Bob has questions for us. Again, our guidance is there to support us. So this is a way for you to connect with your guidance and have an ongoing conversation with them daily or whenever you choose. So I then asked about blockages, because one of the blockages that Bob mentioned was that he was concerned that he'd not yet had many successful long-term partnerships or relationships with women. So I asked his inner wisdom team, what about that? And they said that Bob's spiritual path is more important than finding a female partner in this life.
Well, I'm not sure if that's true.
Well, this is where we were at this particular point in the session. So I asked the team if there's anything that was blocking Bob's ability to connect with women. And his guidance said that he'd had several past lives, including a Viking life, where he regretfully left his pregnant wife. And these past life experiences were negatively influencing his current relationships with women.
Oh, makes sense. Yeah.
What we've done in the past is in the past, but it can karmically affect us in our lives today.
Yes.
So guidance told us that they'd be happy to help Bob improve his personal relationship with women if that was one of his goals. And of course, he said yes. So I asked Bob to scan his body and tell me where he felt there might be an energetic blockage from a past life that was making him feel anxious when he was around women. So he scanned his body and said he felt the anxiety in his solar plexus. And he described it, as I asked him, what color is it? What shape is it? A brown oblong mass in his third chakra. So, as a protocol, I asked him to surround that brown oblong mass of anxiety, blockage of anxiety, with your mind, with your imagination, taking control of it, because up until now, it's been controlling you. And you just surround it with your mind, your imagination. I want you to move it up and out to the top of your head, putting it behind you in the light, getting rid of it, releasing it.
Yeah.
And then filling up that area with crystal and white light that gets brighter, brighter, stronger, 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 and allow that then to help you change the energy, to help you release what just has been preventing you from this anxiety from having closer relationships with women.
Right.
So I asked his inner wisdom team after we finished this protocol, what just happened? And they told us that Bob's path forward was now open for rewarding relationships with women. Plus, they offered to help him create even more positive relationships with women in the coming months.
Oh, good. Poor Bob.
So our guides are there to support us, to help us. And so by communicating with them and telling them, asking them, helping them to help you, whatever, they can work through the support.
Poor guy. He kept getting put down.
It's improving. So
yes, good.
We then asked about the past lives in Germany, because again, he felt there was something that had happened there. So his inner wisdom team told us that Bob had had at least 3 different past lives in Germany. But they added that Bob did not carry any negative karma from these lifetimes in his current life. And that even so, he was influenced by the past lives. And so the guidance said that now he could more easily enjoy traveling to Germany if he chose to do so. Then we found, with the help of his guidance, the presence of a negative entity in Bob's energy field. The guidance pointed this out, and so we invited that energy to come forth through Bob as if he were channeling it with words like, "I'm here." "I'm here," it said. So in questioning it as he channeled the energy, we learned that this alien, negative alien, had entered Bob's body when he had a near-death experience when he was 5 years old. Told us that it was supposedly protecting Bob since he was a child. But then the ET revealed that it was from another planet and had been marooned here by his comrades. Thus, it took up residence in Bob. So I asked him, that energy, how have you been affecting Bob as he grew older? And he told us that he was partly responsible for Bob going into rather dark places, depths of despair, and alcoholism caused by this energy being present and what was going on in his life at the time. Yes.
This is so complicated. We don't have any clue that this kind of stuff can go on in our lives.
Exactly. And yet I find a number of my clients have negative energies attached to them that we can therefore get rid of during this session that can take with them the negativity that have been causing the problems.
Wow.
And that, in fact, the presence of this negative energy had ultimately guided Bob back on his own spiritual path, on his own. So he had been able to grow as a result of it, but it was still present. So I asked this energy, from its perspective, how old is Bob right now? And it replied, 14 years old. So I asked Bob, how old are you right now actually? And Bob said, 57. So I explained to the intruder that the adult Bob no longer wanted or needed its protection, quote unquote. And in fact, Bob at that point said he wanted the energy out of him. So I explained to the ET that Earth is a free will zone and that energies from other realms and planets and stars are not supposed to interfere with human decision making. So Bob, with his inner wisdom team, agreed that it was time for the alien to move into the light or back where it came from. So to help us do that, I invited Bob to express a divine decree of forgiveness. And it's a very powerful protocol where we bring in Kuan Yin and the Karma Council and invite Bob to say some powerful words that I give to him, phrase by phrase, that can benefit Bob and anyone else who's been affected with all of this. So I asked Bob to ask members of his family, his relatives, his friends, and colleagues to join us as a group in his imagination from his present life, his past lives, and perhaps elsewhere, who could be healed or positively affected by this group forgiveness ceremony.
Great. That's great.
I asked Bob, how many people show up? He said about 30. some of which he recognized. So great.
Party.
So I gave him these powerful words, basically asking for forgiveness from everything that's happened in this life and past lives, and forgiving everybody else for everything they were doing in this and past lives.
Great.
He repeated it phrase by phrase through his heart, not through his brain, through his heart. And as you know, Roberta, that's so important, working through the heart. And the divine decree helped release a lot of negative emotions and related karma through multiple lifetimes, affecting everyone present in a very positive way.
Right. That's great.
So I asked his inner wisdom team, after he said this divine decree of forgiveness, what happened? And they said it was successful and that the intruder alien energy had departed from Bob's energy field. And Bob felt a lot lighter, a lot freer, a lot more complete as a result.
It's wonderful.
So we're now nearing the end of the session, and I invited the Bob's cleanup teams of light to join us, because we all have a cleanup team of light to clean and cleanse every part of his energy field, to help get rid of a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual energy that might now be ready to be released, especially the negativity and emotions that were now ready to go. We then continued the healing by removing any negative thought forms with the help of the angels of the white light, and inviting Bob's lost soul fragments to come on back into his energy field, helping Bob feel energetically and complete once more. At this point, then, we had sought to help Bob come to closure with some of the key areas that he'd mentioned right up front. So now he has a really good understanding of his inner wisdom team, what they look like and sound like and feel like. So I asked Bob to then, in his imagination, come up with a sanctuary that he could go to and reconnect with this team, and to describe that place to me. So Bob found himself there. He imagined this place as a long table with chairs, with his inner wisdom team sitting there across from him on a sandy beach with a silvery sky above. A sanctuary, a special place in his imagination. Mm-hmm. So his heart, his higher self, Archangel Michael, and his spirit guides Daniel and David joined him there in his sanctuary and were present, so he could easily reconnect with them again. And I then told Bob that I would send him a link to my higher self shortcut that he could then use to play. He could download it, and it would take him into trance and up into the light, up into the sanctuary. And to then, after listening to this to several times, he could easily go there on his own, inviting the team to join him there, and with everyone present, thank them for coming, and then ask them a question about his day through his heart. And shut up and get from them first thought, first feeling, first image, first choice, and answer. Because they work with him during the session, they help him during the session, and now he knows what they look like and sound like and feel like, and can easily work with them daily or whenever he chooses in the future.
Isn't that wonderful?
So we then brought the session to a close by asking his wisdom team to join us once again. And I asked this question: how do we help Bob during today's session? And I asked one of his inner wisdom team members to join us then at that point and report with words like, "I'm here." "I'm here," said a voice. "What name may we call you?" It turned out Bob's spirit guide, Daniel, reported the following: "We help Bob realize that he's protected and loved and guided and will not be abandoned on his soul journey in this lifetime. We released blockages that were preventing him from finding a female life partner. We got rid of that negative alien energy that had been causing him problems in this life. We cleared influences from several German past lives, and we gave him valuable insights into his current stressful employment, knowing that we will be helping him take a positive next step when the time is right in the coming months. Plus, then as Guy Daniel said, enjoy your time in this body. You are doing really well." Then I asked for an overall message from his inner wisdom team, and the team added, Archangel Michael said the following: "We love and care for Bob so much. He's such a special being to us. We're with him all the time. It's all a wonderful family of love. Bob is a bright star on a beautiful trajectory. We encourage him to keep moving forward, and we will be there to support him in every step along the way." I got together with Bob a week later for a follow-up session where I went through my notes, taking him step by step through the session, describing what I was doing and why, and underscoring the wisdom coming through him, helping him to really reconnect and realize what had shifted and changed, because things had already started changing within him. And he reported that he was continuing to meet daily with his inner wisdom team at the long table on the beach and asking questions and getting next steps from them. So he was delighted with the session, as was I, and I wanted to share all this with you and your viewers and listeners today. Comments, questions from you?
Well, so how long ago was this that you had this main session with him?
It was about 4 months ago.
And so how have things progressed for him since then?
He continues to meet with the group. In fact, I'm part of the. I organize a group through the Santa Barbara chapter of the International Association for Near-Death Studies, and we have an experiencers group that meets monthly at my home. And so it turns out that Bob is part of the group, and I saw him on Sunday this past week, and he said that he continues to work with his team and is very pleased with the ongoing results that he's getting from that.
Which is wonderful. The fact that you have opened up that spiritual set of relationships for him that he can use and grow in is quite astonishing and quite terrific.
And that's why I wanted to share it with all of you today, because we have that opportunity, that possibility.
We have this whole team of people who are working with us.
In fact, as
amazing.
I share with clients, my impression of all of this is that we have spirit guides, angels, archangels, and ascended masters who are available to us. And Earth, from my perspective, Earth is a free will zone. We come to Earth to practice making choices. That's how our souls evolve, the choices that we make. One of the choices is going to be, I'm going to do it myself. Great. Right. Another choice is going to be, I'm going to ask for help in the unseen world. Help's all around, but they can't help as much as we ask for it. My impression of these resources is that each of them has a little cubicle with a comfortable chair, a small desk, and a red phone. They're waiting for your call. They're bored.
The phone, right? When will he call? When will she call? Right.
Call them now and say thank you.
There are many ways that you can work with your team. My particular spirit guide wants to be the only one who talks to me, but he talks to me all the time. Mm-hmm. And he just said to me now, there's a whole team behind him. He just chooses to be the one person who talks to me. That's okay. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is the way people that you teach do it. They have the whole team right there, and they all talk to you. It's all in how you have it set up for you, what works for you.
Yep, exactly.
But they're all there. You have all these people, not now in bodies, who are your team. They love you. They care about you. They have a whole lot more wisdom. When we come to Earth, Mikey Morgan, who is our frequent guest, tells us we put most of our mind into a suitcase and leave it behind. So we have our, sort of the part of our mind that's ready to do all the hard work right on Earth, but it's like you strip down into your jeans or your shorts and t-shirt to work on Earth. Most of our mind we left behind. We don't have any memory even of what's in that suitcase that we left back there. But these beings that are working with us, they have access to their whole mind. They have a lot more wisdom than we have, and it's all available to us to help us. And what you're showing is, wow, how much wisdom they can bring to bear if we only ask them.
Mm-hmm. And say thank you.
Oh, that's nice of you to say. He just said you don't say thank you nearly enough. No, I'm sorry, I don't. I really should say it a lot more often than I do. I'm just so used to having his help. But this is quite amazing and remarkable and wonderful how you help people to open to all this guidance that they have around them that can help them straighten so many things out. I mean, the wonderful stories people have told me about working with you, and that they used to go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist and do talk therapy, and the talk therapy never got at anything that were their real problems.
Yeah,
It does.
it's mired in the third dimension. Here, we're going up into the fifth dimension and connecting with your guidance that knows everything about you and is showing up to partner with us for your highest good.
And the great thing is you get to take it home with you.
And it's short-term therapy. At least from my perspective, I offer a free consultation to prospective clients by Zoom or phone or in person. And we talk about the issues that you'd like to resolve. And I talk about what I just shared with your viewers and listeners, how a session unfolds. And if there's a match, great. And if there's not a match, great. You'll know. And I see clients every day of the week by Zoom or phone or in person. So I have clients all over the world. And we just get out of the way.
Isn't Zoom is such a wonderful thing?
Thank you.
I'm on Zoom every day too. I don't know how I could live without it because nobody I work with and in my profession is nearby. I mean, you can easily. We just sent some books off to Serbia to somebody who's a very dear friend of mine. Serbia! I never knew anybody in Serbia until I started doing this counseling work. It's wonderful. What do you want people to think about? I mean, obviously, you're opening so many minds when you help people see all this help that's available to them. What do you want them to? What kind of problem do you most solve? What kind of thing does this work best with?
It can work with all sorts of issues, getting rid of negative emotions, helping you get rid of pains, because they could be from past life or this life, getting rid of helping to improve relationships with others, because everyone is available to us in the trance state. As I've shared in the past, I was at a workshop several years ago as a participant, and there was another hypnotherapist present, also a participant, and we engaged in idle chatter before the workshop began. During one of the breaks, she shared with me on his cell phone part of a video of one of his client sessions. Now, his client was in hypnosis, and they had invited the client's Uncle Harold to join them for the session in the imagination of the client.
Was Harold alive or dead?
He was dead.
Yeah, okay, dead.
Yep. And so Uncle Harold had passed on years ago, but he was present for the session. Thank you very much, because you could see a little photograph of Uncle Harold in the video, right next to the client's face. There was Uncle Harold.
Wow.
So everyone's available to us in the trance state, whether they're alive, or
Absolutely.
they're alive, dead, or past lives, or whatever.
Right.
So bring them forward in your imagination so you can come to closure with them.
Yes.
It's an easy way to do it and a safe way. And I've had numerous clients tell me in the follow-up session that relationship issue that they'd had with that person, a relative or whatever, past, life person or husband or wife, by inviting them to come forward, speaking your truth to them, hearing their responses through your imagination allows you to speak your truth. Know that you've been heard so you can move on.
Yep.
Often it affects them because even though they're not consciously aware, the relationship changes. It improves for both of you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Get out of the way.
Yeah, it really is true that we tend to have a view of that relationship, whatever it is, especially if the body has transitioned. we have that relationship set in our mind, and it may be a totally bogus view of that relationship.
Exactly. From just a perspective that we see at that particular point that was not really the whole story.
Not at all, especially if we were very young at the time or we had our own issues at the time. And looking at it again from a different perspective because we're older, wiser, whatever is different now,
Yep.
we can come to closure in ways we never could have back then.
And it's often about forgiveness.
Oh, a lot of the time it's about forgiveness.
I share with clients, my perspective is there's a huge flaw in humanity, a huge flaw, which is you're not in charge of other people. You should be, but you're not. You're just in charge of
You
yourself.
should be.
So take charge of yourself.
Start it.
Forgive everybody else, because we're all doing the best we can do in that instant. Otherwise, we'd be doing something different.
Right,
So
right.
let it go.
Darn it, if only I could rule the world. It would be so different, right?
No. So.
No, but it's true. It is true that forgiveness is key to making so many things better.
Yes.
Freeing other people, freeing ourselves, especially freeing ourselves. And to get that all done while we're here on Earth, we have another opportunity very often once we transition, but to make that all better while we're here is so much more creative, I want to say, but it's more healing and a deep layer for ourselves while we're here. We can grow much better spiritually while we're here than we can after we've transitioned. People really don't understand that. They think it'll be all better when I get to heaven. No, it's much harder to grow spiritually there. And love is much more readily available to us. And as you see, you've got a whole team there. You can grow by leaps and bounds spiritually with team's help.
In the trance state, then we can invite anybody with whom you have unfinished business to join us in your imagination.
So much.
Anybody, this life, past lives, or whatever. And it just gives you a chance to move on without all that stuff.
Yeah, here is where you really can grow spiritually. People don't understand that. You can grow by giant leaps here.
Yeah.
And that's why I love so much what you do, because you facilitate that and make it possible. And I love the fact that someone like Bob, now that he has access up to his team, he can be doing it and growing, even after he's not working with you directly anymore. He's got his team there to grow with.
And I send clients 10 different handouts after the session, including the 21 essential angels and how to work with them, how to manifest what you want in your life. Sample to ask your inner wisdom team, how to prime the pump to make this more real for your ego. So just resources you can use to move forward if you so choose, and how to protect your aura, how to protect your energy field, so these negative energies can't get into you and cause problems. So I'm here to support my clients and others to say, hey, help's all around. Call upon it.
And that's the true reality.
Yep.
It is unfortunate, but 125 thereabouts years ago, the scientific community was so spooked by the advent of quantum mechanics, they decided to turn science into essentially what was a religion, the religion of atheism, by instituting materialism as the fundamental dogma of mainstream science. And because they did that, they foreclosed from most people the reality, which is that consciousness, as the quantum physicist Max Planck said, consciousness underlies it all. It still does, but it's harder for people to discover that because of what science has done since, which is basically nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
Exactly.
So it's wonderful what you do. You teach what's true. And I'm so delighted, sweetheart, that we have the opportunity to hear your case histories and how well you can help people grow by giving them access to a whole new level of reality, which is even more real than what we see around us.
Yeah,
We
their own
trust
guide.
our lion eyes a lot more than we should. What do you want people to take away from today? There's so much we've talked about.
That we're much more powerful than we believe we are. And that by tuning into your own guidance, you can increase your own awareness and capabilities exponentially by asking for help and being the best person you can and forgiving those around you. And oh, please, we're all on a spiritual journey. So just forgive yourself, love yourself, be compassionate towards yourself and everyone else, because that's what's crucial here.
And notice the words that we're using. If you're a Christian, don't be troubled at all, because Jesus taught all the same stuff, including the fact that if you have a faith as tiny as a mustard seed, if you believe just only that little bit, you can make a mountain move.
Mm-hmm.
It's true that your
and,
mind is that powerful.
and every other religion as well, because there's so many. With my clients, I have a number of clients who are from different religions, and we bring forth the key leaders, if you will, the key resources from those religions to join us. So often Buddha may join us, or you sort of name it. Plus the gods and goddesses from long time ago. Again, they're available to us to support if that's area that you believe in. We're looking to use what you believe to be resources to come and help you move forward.
Lovely. Well, I think I'm gonna get a lot of questions about this episode, and I hope I do, because I'm past the point of trying to be patient with science. I have tried to be patient for a very long time, but patience takes you only so far. Actually, Max Planck, who won the 1918 Nobel Prize as the father of quantum mechanics, believed that in a generation or so, science would wise up. But there have been quite a few generations since 1918, and the science still has not wised up. So I think we're ready to basically tell them we're not even going to wait for them any longer. We're just going to go go on and teach what's true. And just wait a minute. You and I will talk a little afterwards. But I'm just going to tell everyone who will be our guest next week, and I'll be right back. But I'm so grateful to you for coming and teaching us every so often about what it is you do, because I think it's really indispensable for you the way that you teach individuals who are at a stage where they're really nothing else really could have helped Bob, as I think we all see, to reach the kinds of issues he was having in his personal life, in his business life, and in his spiritual life, to resolve all the things that he needed to resolve. Nothing else but what you do. No counseling could have. There was no medication, certainly, that could have helped him. And yet you're helping him now to grow spiritually in ways that are just wonderful. So,
And he's doing the work. I'm just a facilitator. He's channeling all of this information through his own energy field, and the truth is coming through, which is so exciting and so healing for
all
him.
he had to do was open his mind to the possibility that there are ways that he had not known about for him to reach his own higher self. That's all he had to do, is open his mind.
Through his imagination.
Yes. And the thing about imagination is that it's all it is another level of your own mind that you've never taken seriously before.
Yep.
And it's true. The beauty is that's true of all of us.
Exactly.
Not just Bob. We all have that level of our own minds we've never before accessed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exciting. I don't care how old you are, to know that there's a whole part of your mind that's just as real and you've never accessed it before, but you can. That's exciting. It's sort of like being young and discovering suddenly that there are things that you've never known you could do. I just think that's the most wonderful thing. Be old, but to be suddenly young is the most exciting thing I can imagine. but I'll be right back, sweetie. Once again, though, I have to share with all of you, my beloved friends, that we've come to the end of our time together, and this has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. I'm so happy you could be with us today. But please, I want you never to forget that you are a powerful, eternal being. You never began. You're never going to end. If you can hear my voice right now, you are an eternal being by your very nature. And I want you really on a deeper level to know the implications of that fact are beyond wonderful. And it's going to change everything in your life for the better when you really, really get that. Next week, our guest will be Maria Pei. She'll be with us for the third time, although I think it's been a decade since she was here for the second time. She's going to be our guest to talk about her book, Journey to the Upper Realm. Maria lost her two young sons to murder. I remember when this happened, it was so dramatic. I believe their father murdered them at least a decade ago, and she was very brave. She reestablished a close and vivid connection with them in a very special place in the astral plane, and it was so fascinating to see it happening. I'm going to be very eager now to hear what she's been up to since that time, so please join us next week and we'll find all of that out together. This week, our guest has been a very special friend of mine, Peter Wright. He's been here for the 24th time. Peter has been my friend for more than 15 years since I first met him at a conference in California. I used to do conferences, but not anymore. Peter is a certified hypnotherapist who's based in Santa Barbara. He also holds the distinction of being one of only 40 board-certified past life regression therapists in the United States. Peter, I think we should talk about past lives next time again. We haven't talked about them in a while. He has more than 30 years of experience working with thousands of clients in a variety of kinds of problems. Peter has worked with many Seek Reality listeners, and sometimes I hear from them. And someone will say, by the way, he'd been thinking about it for a while. He finally sought out Peter Wright, and he was helped with something that talk therapy never, ever could have solved. I'm always happy to hear that. And we should mention, too, that our dear friend Craig Hogan is the president and guru of Seek Reality Online. Look, here is the situation. Many people don't want to hear about what happens in the afterlife, and I don't know why that is. But I think they're afraid to hear about it and then be disappointed. What if it's not wonderful enough? It's more wonderful than you can possibly imagine. I remember when I was first doing the research on the afterlife that initially convinced me. It's more wonderful than you can possibly imagine, because it's as if you have the best parents on the face of this earth, and they're trying to make the best possible Christmas morning that you could possibly have. And they keep thinking of ever more wonderful things to put under the tree. That's just what the afterlife is like. It's better than you can possibly know. And if you're alive now, you're always going to be alive. So since you're going to go to the afterlife, you may as well get a head start. Go to seekreality.com and see what's there. It's quite wonderful. And knowing that your life is eternal really does change everything. There'll never be an ending. And of course, teachingsbyjesus.com is your best resource for all the divine truths that are brought to you in perfect love by the greatest teacher of them all, Master Jesus. Jesus did not invent Christianity. That was the Roman emperor, and actually all the Romans who came after him. Constantine meant well, I think, but he invented Christianity because he needed a way to control the masses. That's what Christianity is for. It is not meant to teach you the truth about reality. Jesus teaches us what is true. Jesus asked us to create teachingsbyjesus.com. We're still working on it now. I don't know what he's going to do with it, but it is his website. And that's all I'm going to say about it now, because I don't know where it's going. but he does. You know my nonfiction books, Liberating Jesus, My Thomas, The Fun of Dying, The Fun of Staying in Touch, The Fun of Growing Forever, The Fun of Living Together, and The Fun of Loving Jesus, Embracing the Christianity that Jesus Taught, which is for young children. That's The Fun of Meeting Jesus. Oh my goodness. You can order all these books through bookstores or on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. And next year, I will be putting out 2 novels. I'll be talking about them more as the time gets closer. And that's a whole new side of me that I don't think any of you knows. But we'll see how you feel about it when the novels come out. Meanwhile, this has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Please enjoy and make the most of this coming week in our one reality, always knowing, never forgetting that you are a powerful, eternal being, and most of all in this entire universe, you are infinitely, eternally, perfectly, and forever loved.
You've been listening to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Roberta blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Join us every week as we explore what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about the one reality we all share. Knowing the truth changes everything.